and flipping and burr journey. Very little experience, and taken in a lot of info on the daily. Interested to hear what you have to teach me.
I have so much to teach you. So much. Are you in the academy or no?
I'm not. I
Mm.
actually am learning a little bit from REN, which is the Women's Real Estate Investing Network, but I'm super interested in multifamily, which they don't do. And so I might be part of your network here after today.
Very cool. Oh, I'm not worried. I'm not here to talk about that. And if that happens, that's amazing. But that's very cool. That's exciting. Andrew, what house are you at? Are you at one of your houses? Hold on, I'm still here. I can hear you. I need to grab something to put my computer on and lift the screen. I can still hear you though.
I'm driving around, dropping off mail and stuff.
Nice. Where you're at one of your houses in Lexington right now?
No, I'm heading to my old business partner's place to drop off some mail that I keep getting.
Nice. Hold on, guys. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to get my I need to get my books. I need to get my screen set up here. Was not fully prepared. It came from another call. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's check the chat. Guys, again, let me know where you're watching from. We got Troy, Ohio. What's up, Jesse? Simone, what's up? Simone, the call for the Academy thing is at 2 o'clock Eastern. We got Florida, Texas. Guys, if you could do me a huge favor, it's a very simple favor. It doesn't take anything except a couple clicks. If you could turn your cameras on, that would just make me the happiest person on earth. So I can just look into your souls and just know that I'm touching you. That's all that I want to do. All right. Well, let's do this. Let me share my screen here. And here's my plan. Over the next hold on, let me share my screen. Cool. All right. Can we all see that good? How to pick a winning market? Amazing. So over the next 60 or so minutes, here we go. Over the next 60 minutes, what I want to do, 50 minutes, is I just want to bring you guys as much value as possible. And the kind of value I'm going to bring you is going to be like real actionable steps, things that you could put forward today, tomorrow, so you guys can actually go out there and start like looking for deals. Like I'm going to help you get the ball rolling. That's what I want to do. And then if we have time at the end of the call, what I want to do then is take some questions and, do some more individualized stuff as long as we have some time. So we'll go. The next thing, this is what you're gonna have. This is what you're gonna learn by the end of it. You're gonna learn where and why to buy, like where and why you want to buy the certain kind of properties. You're gonna learn how to find motivated sellers. I'm gonna help school you on a process that I've used to get a lot of deals. I'm gonna just tell you how to do it. And the next thing you're gonna learn is how you can find the right kind of properties to buy, because not all properties are created equal whenever it comes to finding deals. So that's what you're going to walk away with today. Is everybody cool with that? Is that okay with everybody? Can you let me know in the chat? If it's not, I can just end the call right now and we don't need to go any further. But I need you guys to give me something. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
All right. Good. All right, Anita, we got Kirsten. Lisa's camera's not working. It's all right. Cool. All right, let's roll. So, and then also lastly, at the very end, what you're going to get is homework from me on what you guys can do and just kind of pushing you in the right direction. So first, let's kick it off with a little pop quiz. Let's get our minds thinking. I got 3 true or falses, and let's see what you guys got to say. True or false? There are no good deals out there. Who here has heard? Let me know in the chat. Who here has heard there are just no good deals out there? Rates are too high. Homeowners want too much. Who believes that there are just no good deals out there? Let me know in the chat. True or false? False. Yeah. All right. I feel like you guys kind of know the answer to that. All right. And drum roll, please. False. That is 1,000% not true. I mean, like Andrew said earlier, he's going to one of his houses. I see Simone is here. Her and Dominica just picked something up that I think they're going to make some decent money on, which is pretty exciting. Next, true or false? cash flow is key. Who here has heard this? Cash flow is king. Cash flow is the most important thing out there. True or false? False. While it is important for certain reasons and getting certain kind of loans, it is part of what matters, but not the most important thing. And I'm going to show you guys exactly why. So don't worry, Davina. It's not, you didn't get the wrong. You're okay. You didn't get the wrong answer. We're all in it together. I'll break it down for you in a little bit. And lastly, guys, true or false? You cannot invest in real estate while working full time. Who do I got on this? True or false? Simone, what do you think? Simone's like, that's
Sorry, I
false.
didn't pay attention. I was looking at my contractor's work.
Oh, okay. So Simone can't invest in real estate while investing in real estate full time. She's just so in the zone. But all right. So answer to that is false. False. Cool. And then we got a few people here that took some of this information that I gave that I'm about to give you guys. These are Academy members. These are people on our team that have taken this exact same system. And these are a few things they had to say. So you guys can check that out, look at it, whatever. But basically all these people we have helped. So a little bit about me. Well, before I kind of get into the system and the process and everything, I'm going to tell you like who I am, what I've done, and like why you should listen to me. So number one, hold on one second, guys. Let me see something real fast. This is actually not. Oh, here we go. Hold on a sec. Let me resave this. I was like, man, this wasn't the right one. But that's what you get when you do these things live for the crew. All right. Let me reshare my screen. Share. Boom. All right. Let's go back through. Hold on. So, all right. Boom. Next one. All right. Cool. A little bit about me. So, I actually grew up in a little town called North Canton, Ohio, about an hour or so south of Cleveland, where LeBron is from, right around Akron, Cleveland area. And I was a very poor student in high school. Like I graduated 311th out of 320 kids. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but like I had a very hard time in school. I wasn't a bad kid. I just couldn't learn the way that school like wanted us to learn. Like I couldn't memorize, take a test, memorize and take a test. And that led me to graduating high school with a 1.53 GPA. So I was 9 from the bottom, barely graduated. On my exit exam out of high school, my guidance counselor asked me, he's like, well, Jarius, what do you want to do after high school? And I told him what I thought was the right answer. And I was like, hey, I want to go to college. Because coming from like a big immigrant family, that's like what you do is you go to college and you become like a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever like that, something like that. And then he looked at me and he's like, well, do you have any more realistic expectations? So that's when I was like, well, I'm too dumb to go to college. So like, what do you do if you can't go to college in 2002? Well, I don't know if you guys remember September 11th. You go and sign up for the military because they need lots of people. And I went across the auditorium and I ended up joining the Army and I became a helicopter mechanic. I fixed CH-47 Chinook helicopters, the helicopters with 2 big propellers on the top. And I went on to go to one of the toughest schools in the military in aviation. And I was fortunate enough, I graduated, I worked really, really hard. And I graduated as the distinguished honor graduate in my class, which meant I was top of the class for grades and I had really good like physical fitness scores and all that good stuff. And man, I look back and I'm like, man, why did I fail so bad in school? And then why did I do so like well in the military? Like what's like the disconnect? What happened here? And the one thing I learned while I was in the military, the big thing I learned in the military was that in school, we're taught this one thing. We're taught that we have to know all the answers. We're just taught we have to memorize everything. Versus in the military, especially as a helicopter mechanic, we didn't need to know all the answers. We just needed to know where to fire answers. So if like the clutch was broke, the droop stop limiter and the hydraulics, like any of that kind of stuff was like messed up, I would just have to go and troubleshoot it in the manual, and the manual would tell me how to fix the problem. That's it. So like I didn't need to know the answers. I just had to know where to find them. So that was probably one of the biggest takeaways I took from the actual military itself. Now, while in the military, I read this book that changed my mind and changed the way I looked at a lot of things. And it was a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Who in here has heard of that book or read that book or anything that book? A few people. Cool. Well, that book taught me something, and it taught a thing called the cash flow quadrant. That basically there's 4 different ways to make money in the world. And there's 4 different quadrants. You can do it as an employee. You can do it as self-employed. Both those trade time for money. So you work a certain amount of hours and you get paid for those hours. And on the other side, there's a business owner and an investor. So business owners have a system, a business that makes them money. And then an investor just trades money for money. And I knew that I didn't like, so here's the deal. It's like some of the hardest working people I know are the people that work hard. Or some of the brokest people I know are some of the hardest working people out there. Like we all know people that work really, really hard, but don't have any money. Who in here can like relate to that? Who's seen that? Like I see my dad work 3 jobs to have just enough money for us to be poor. Like I grew up on a free lunch program. Like my dad stocked vending machines, did picketing stuff, pushed grocery carts, like did everything. So there's like this like thing out there. It's like you work hard to be successful, but that's just not real. Like working hard alone will not make you successful. Working on the right things with the right people around you will make you successful. And that's what I want to, that's what I want to help you guys kind of understand and work towards today. So I just knew that like I had to find a way to get to this other side of the quadrant and become a business owner or become an investor or become something. Yeah, diesel mechanic. There is. Dude, so I ended up taking my promotion to E6 as a mechanic. So I worked on Humvees, deuce and a half, 5 tons, as right when we transitioned to like the LTVs and all that stuff. But yeah, I did diesel mechanic stuff too. All that was awesome. But anytime you guys want a crash course in diesel mechanics, anytime your vehicle won't start and if it's diesel, you just take a can of ether and you just spray it on the glow plugs. That's it. That was like our trick in the Army. That fixed everything. And if it didn't, we just called the wrecker and had to get a new one. But yeah, man, like working hard isn't what it used to be, especially like cost of living and just the way inflation is. Everything is just a lot more expensive. And we need to work hard at the right things. So I knew that I needed to go over from one side to the other side. But how do I do that? Well, the thing that most of these people had in common that were on this other side of the quadrant was that they created wealth and they had built a system through real estate. So I was like, man, I need to get into real estate. Well, there was a problem. By the time I got out of the military, I had destroyed my credit and I had saved no money. My score was at 474. I had like stopped selling or stop like paying my bills. I got way too much debt. I didn't save any money. I just lived paycheck to paycheck in the military. It was just a mess. And I left the military probably in worse condition than I went in financially. Definitely actually in worse because I was an idiot. But that's okay. That's a whole nother story. So I went and bartended for a little bit and still having this thing in the back of my head about, man, like I got to build a system. I just can't do this forever. Like I was just like struck by this bug of just like knowing that I can do more. Can anybody relate to that? Or does that resonate with anybody? Like that feeling like I can do more or like I'm meant for more? Like, let me know in the chat if you kind of got that feeling. Cause man, I just had this thing in my gut where I'm like, man, I can do more. Like I know I wasn't put on here just to be average. I just need the right things. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, man, how do I do real estate? Like real estate. Cause like I wasn't gonna develop an app. I'm not like super athletic. I'm not going to go to the NBA, especially at that point. You know, like what do you do? So I just actually ended up doing the only thing I knew what I could do. And that was looking for the answer, what I learned in the military. So I went looking for the answer. So how do I break into real estate with little to no money? Does anybody have any ideas? Like little to no money, no credit, nothing. How do I get into real estate? Well, back in 2009, I found the answer, 2009, 2010-ish. And that method was through wholesaling. This is not about wholesaling, just so you guys know. I'm not going to talk about wholesaling, but I went on to do over 1,000 wholesale deals from 2009-ish, 2010 to about 2015, 2016. If you guys want to learn more about wholesaling, just send me a DM and I'll get you some stuff on that. But this is not about wholesaling on this one. This one I'm going to talk about what has really changed my life. Because at the end of the day, That's my son at RIA, at one of our RIA meetups. Like he was like not even a year. I had to like lug him to houses with me and everywhere with me because like I just had no choice. Like he went and just looked at houses. He, all the mold, crappy, disgusting houses. He was with me on all that stuff. But I went on to do over 1,000 wholesale deals with my team. We had an on-market side, off-market. We had, we had everything. We were just doing so well. And wholesaling allowed me to learn how to talk to sellers, learn how to meet investors. It helped me pay off debt. It helped me fix my credit. It helped me buy my first house. Like it's helped me every step of the way. And I'm super, super grateful. Nicole, wholesaling is not illegal in South Carolina. We could talk about that on a different thing. It might be illegal, but that does not mean it's impossible. I can promise you that much. I can promise you that much. But we can talk about this another time. But anyway, my team, we had on-market acquisition. We had 3 acquisition people. Me, I flexed in between. Then we had 3 salespeople. Then we had 2 people doing like letter off-market probate stuff. So we had like 8 or 9 people. I found photos. Here, man, let me pull this up. I'll show you guys. See if I can find this really quick. I was going through some of my photos the other day, and this popped up. One of under my favorites. This was my office. This is how we had our office set up back in the day. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. I'll share it on the next one. But man, we had the best setup. So this was like when you walked in our door. You could see off to the right was like our fitness studio. We had a full gym in there. Oop, that's what I said. We had like our pool table, arcades, video games. Then we had like our office setups. Like, man, we were just doing like $1 million. Dude, we were doing over $1 million a year in assignment fees. We were freaking crushing it. But here's the issue with that is I was still on the other side of the quadrant, guys. I was still trading time for money. Because if I wasn't pushing the deals, pushing the closings, pushing the team, like my system wasn't fully automated then. And I ended up doing a lot of deals with somebody that you guys might know, Nate, who's the founder of this group, one of my close friends and mentor. And Nate and I were selling some big apartment building. And it was like in November one day. And Nate calls me, or I called Nate for some closing stuff. And he's like, and I was super loud where he was. I'm like, Nate, what are you doing? Where are you right now? He's like, man, I pulled Caden out of school. I'm sled riding. And it was like Wednesday at noon. I'm like, what do you mean you pulled him out of school and you're sled riding? Like, you're supposed to be at work. Caden's supposed to be in school. Like, what are you doing? And he's like, man, I already made $1 million this year. He's like, I don't need to make any more money. And when he said that to me, I was just like, dang, how do I do that? Because like I have to be here, for us to find deals and make sure my system's working and all that. And he's like, I told you, you got to start buying and holding real estate. You just have to. So let me share with you exactly how I went to go do just that. So I'm going to share with you guys the exact system that I used to do that and exactly how you guys can do it. Like I said earlier, how you guys can take the exact same steps to follow the system that I did, that we had laid out. So it was about 2015-ish. 2014-ish. I had house hacked my house. Oh, that's good. We just started recording. Perfect. I had house hacked. I had house hacked my house, and what that means was I found a property in a nice area that needed work. Right? Who here has heard of the ugliest house on the nicest block? Right? That's what I did. I bought that and I put sweat equity into it. This house was listed on the market for a while. Nobody would buy this house, the one that I live in. And then I was like, man, this is a nice area. I'm going to buy it. I bought it. And over the course of about a year, I made improvements. I updated the kitchen. I updated the bathrooms. I did wholesale deals and I put money into the house. And then what I did was I then got my house reappraised. And then I took out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. That is the difference between what you owe on the house and what the home is worth. And my HELOC ended up being about $150,000 of my equity. My equity ended up being about $150,000, of which I was able to get about $130,000 HELOC against it that I used to start buying real estate. And I'm going to show you exactly how I found the areas to buy in that Nate and I used to find areas, and we still use, and we still help people find deals this way. Like, this is the way we help our Academy members. This is the way we help lots of people find deals. So in 2015, I did what I'm going to show you guys, and I identified this area in Cincinnati that was on fire, that was going to be on fire. Maybe not yet, right? But was going to be on fire. And I ended up buying my first rental property. This is here on the left. This was the before. I bought it for $17,500. I put about $130,000 into the property, and the appraisal came back at 135. I did a lot wrong on the rehab. I got ripped off by contractors. It was a mess. I did a ton of stuff wrong. And then I ended up, just basically leaving a lot of money in this deal, right? So if the house appraises at 135 and a bank is willing to give me back 75% of the appraised value, that means that I got back about 105,000. That was a failed BRRRR. I didn't borrow money the right way. I didn't manage contractors. I didn't pick the right finishes. I did everything wrong except one thing. I picked the right area to buy. Okay. And let me show you how that saved me and what that looks like. This is that same property that I just refinanced in 2022. So again, 120, the appraisal came back in 2022 for that exact same property for $365,000 versus in 2015, it was 135. So the appraisal increased $32,000, almost $33,000 a year. That is $2,700 per month. Does that make sense, everybody? In appreciation, I'm not even talking about the cash flow. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about just from buying in the right area. I was able to come back and tap into $2,700 a month in appreciation. Does that make sense? Is everybody disconnected, or does nobody just feel like commenting and reacting at all? Because I don't have to do this. I'm already rich. I can just end this call. No. Come on, guys. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, amazing. So awesome. So this is like the big thing is they're like buying in the right areas. Now, I ended up taking those properties that I bought and I ended up buying about 60 units in that neighborhood, about 50-ish units in that neighborhood. I took that same strategy from burring the properties to pull out some of that cash and invest in bigger deals. There's Nate and I in front of the Hampton Inn. There's a Courtyard Marriott. There's our Staybridge in the corner. No, Anita, I didn't spend 120 again. I don't know why. I don't know why I put that on there. I should have deleted it. So here's the truth. This isn't the right PowerPoint. I literally spent this morning doing a new one that was like way better. And this was the freaking one that popped up. So I'm just going to run with it because it's not bad. It's fine. I cleaned it up a little bit, but it's close enough. So, man, I mean, that's the thing is, guys, like we're just raw and this is what we do. Okay. I'm a real estate guy. I'm not a PowerPoint guy. So yeah, the hotels are awesome. The hotels are incredible. So the best part about owning a hotel is that the pool never closes. Like growing up, like my family vacation, we went to Kelly's Island one time and we didn't even spend the night. And then now like my son's just like, I'm like, yeah, just, go raid the snack bar or go do whatever. Like it's super freaking cool. So, but all of that would not have been possible if it wasn't for buying the right kind of properties in the right area. And it took me 4 or 5 years to scale up to this point. But at the end of the day, if I told you guys it would take you 4 years to get just 10 rental properties, who in here would think that's like a loss? Like who here wouldn't do that? Who in here wouldn't trade 5 to 10 hours a week for the next 4 years to get 10 rental properties? Who in here thinks that's a fair exchange? Let me know. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. And not only does this stuff work for me, like I'm talking about like Josephette and Kelsey, like they're in Kentucky, they're crushing it. Like they came in with they started with no doors, took this system, and now they both have, I don't think they're up to like 6 or 7 doors, which is amazing. Jennifer took everything that I'm going to show you guys and used that exact same system to invest out of state. She was in California. She invested in Augusta, Georgia, doing exactly what I'm showing you. But here's the deal. It takes time. It's going to require some level of sacrifice. Like here's guys, the sacrifice is the most important thing. And anytime somebody like comes into one of our programs or comes into anything, especially like the wholesaling stuff, I ask them, I'm like, hey, what's your goal? And they'll say like, X is my goal. I'm like, cool. What are you willing to give up to get X? And like, they're like, you have to think about it. Like there has to be a season of suck. There's a level of sacrifice that is necessary for you to get what you want. Like nothing great ever just happens because it's supposed to happen or because of whatever. Like there has to be a level of suck. There's a level of sacrifice, whatever that is, whether that is getting up earlier, maybe missing some sports game, whatever it is, guys, like it's temporary. So however you take this information here, and you get all excited, you talk to your partner, you talk to your family. Here's the conversation. Hey guys, listen, my days, my weeks are about to change drastically for the next 18 to 24 months. It's not going to be forever, but for the next 18 to 24 months, I'm going to be a little less available. I'm going to be working really, really hard right now, working on getting this real estate business off the ground. I'm going to be working really hard for the next 2 years. So that way I won't have to work as hard anymore. So that way, kids, you can have something different than I had. But you've got to decide that's what you want to do. Because if you're not willing to do it, then like don't do any of this stuff. Because I promise you right now, if you take what I give you and you half do it, you will get no result. That is one promise I can give you. If you take what I'm going to lay out for you and you just stay consistent 30 to 60 minutes a day for 6 months, for 12 months, and you stay consistent, you will see results. The only way for this to not happen is by just giving up and not doing it. That is it. So the next thing is don't rush to pick a market. This is the most important time. You'll see here in a second. It's the most important part of the process is picking this market and picking the right areas. So, all right. Number one is where do we go to invest? Like everybody's really quick to want to pick different areas to invest. I think of like off the top of my head, I think of somebody like Dave Brown. Dave Brown's in the academy. Dave Brown lives in like Massachusetts, I think. And he came into the academy like less than a year ago. And he's like, I have to invest out of state. I can't invest where I live. And we're just like, are you sure? Like, have you tried? He's like, yeah, everything's too expensive and I can't invest here. And I'm like, well, dude, can I challenge you? Like, can we just like try to find deals in your own backyard? Guess what? He's investing in his own backyard now. Because a lot of times those beliefs that we have that we can't do something aren't typically formed by us. They're formed by the people around us. And then we hear that and we think that's the reality. But it doesn't have to be. Like, it just doesn't have to be. That's just not how that works. They only know that because that's just what they know. And they haven't like taken the time to try to get something different or to try to learn something different or, fill in the blank, whatever that is. So number one is let's start in our own backyard. Step one, macro. In this picture, we're going to start with a macro picture. This is the big picture. This is what city do you live in? So you guys drop what cities you live in. Orlando, St. Louis, Maryland, Atlanta, wherever you guys live, the city, Modesto, amazing. The city is the macro, Dayton, Huntsville, all that, guys. These are all the macro. So when I say macro, think big city. Got it? Go. So this is the macro. This is Cincinnati, basically. If you look at Cincinnati as a whole, I mean, Scott, it can even go bigger than this. When I think of Cincinnati, I think of like Northern Kentucky. I think of parts of Indiana. I think of just like big part of Cincinnati. That's the macro. It's the entire city. Boom. Greenville's on fire. I love, there isn't like you guys in the Carolinas, the things that I've seen happen in South Carolina and North Carolina, especially in the triad. I was just down there for a meetup. Is insane. The market reminds me so much of like what Cincinnati is. I could go on about that, but I'm not going to. But like Nicole, you're in an incredible spot in South Carolina. A lot of you guys, I mean, Columbia, guys, honestly, every spot's a good spot. You just got to know how to hit it. But let me get into it. So number one is let's start with the macro. And guys, these are actionable steps I want you to take. I want you to remember at the end, this is all going to be part of like a homework that you're going to do. Now, okay. Number one is city council meetings. Now, how many people here have heard of a city council meeting in their area or know what a city council meeting is? Well, city council is probably the most important mover and driver in any city that you guys live in any city at all. City council, people think that the governors, the mayors, the this and that, all that stuff, and while all that stuff is fine and dandy, really the people moving stuff forward are the city council members. These city council members have these agendas and represent the people and represent the communities on a whole different level. So before anything can happen, it starts at city council. Like it starts at the building department, but then goes through city council. So if there's ever a new road, if there's ever a new hospital, if there's ever a new university, if there's ever an expansion, anything, all of that starts at city council. If the city wants to give incentives, which mean like bonuses, if they want to give rewards and perks to incentivize growth and redevelopment, it all starts at city council. Now, that's where it starts. Now, like, why does that matter? What does that mean? Well, here's the thing about city council meetings is they are free. You guys can go to a city council meeting at any time. They're not by invite only. There's always big movers and shakers and players at these city council meetings, people that you should know, people that are pushing the ball forward in lots of these cities. So city council meetings are huge and they're free. So I want you guys to figure out when your city council meetings are and go to the city council meetings. And what's nice is a lot of these are live streamed and recorded. So that means you can catch the recording even if you miss it, miss the in-person thing or whatever. But find out when they are and get an idea of what the big picture things are in your city that are happening. And then also, if you guys are investing, if you're investing out of state and you're looking at city councils and you're narrowing down cities, also just look at like, what's the eviction process? What incentives are they giving people to grow there? What do the new jobs look like? Who's like an investor friendly city that I want to be in? And not even to get political, but typically, like more Republican states are more investor friendly and they want that kind of growth. So if I'm investing money, I'm not necessarily going to want to invest money in a state or a city that is not landlord friendly, that will let squatters stay in my house. So keep that in mind whenever you're looking for places to invest. And then you listen. You go to these council meetings and you listen. Go to like to 4, go to 5. Just listen. All right. Find out what communities within the city keep coming up. The macro is the city, the whole city. The micro is the communities. What are the neighborhoods? What are the communities that keep coming up over and over again? If you look here, you'll see communities in Cincinnati, Mount Auburn, Madisonville, Price Hill, Newport, Evanston. These are all communities within Cincinnati. And all of these communities are constantly being brought up by the city council to give them incentives for maybe a new library, a new rec center, to promote some kind of growth, to promote something. What communities are being brought up over and over again? Does that make sense, everybody? Do you understand what the difference is between the macro, and the micro? Does that make sense? Say yes if that does, please. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Now, this again, like I said, what communities keep coming up? Where do you hear the attention? Where is the money going? Because where the money goes, the growth will follow. What are the abatements? What are the incentives? Who's getting the entertainment district? Who's getting the liquor licenses? Who's getting the attention from the city? That's what we need to know, is who's getting the attention from the city. If you look here, who in here has heard that myth, that terrible myth, that you want to buy real estate next to Starbucks and Chipotle's? Who's heard that? That's probably like the biggest lie on the internet right now. It's so funny because you don't. Like, you just don't. If you're buying investment properties next to a Starbucks or Chipotle, like, you've already lost. Like, and I'm not going to say you're not going to make money, you're not going to do this, but you're not going to make what you could make buying in other areas. I can promise you that much. Yeah, Chick-fil-A, all that's a sham. That's not real. Where you want to buy real estate is in the micro, obviously, like, listen to the communities, but look for the ministry-driven, nonprofit-driven restaurants, coffee shops that are coming in those communities on the micro. These are all amazing ministry, nonprofit-driven causes that are coming in communities that the city wants to lift up, that is getting the attention of the city. So I definitely encourage you guys to look. And now you'll notice this. Like, how many times have people driven past, or how many times have you guys just driven in a neighborhood, and then all of a sudden, like, one day you're like, oh my God, there's a coffee shop here. Like, what is that doing here? Or like, why is there a restaurant here? Or like, why is this here? Because like when you think of this neighborhood, you think of like, oh my God, it's just crappy. But then like something pops up, and then something else pops up. And then the houses get renovated. And then they start selling. And then they give a tax credit. And then and like, it's like, holy cow, like this is how it begins. But the problem is we've been preconditioned. Like everybody's been told you got to buy for the cash flow. You got to buy next to the Starbucks. You've got to buy this. Like, guys, I'm going to where the puck is going, and I'm not going to where it is. That is not how you play this game. You need to have an eye on where the growth is, because the appreciation and buying in the right area is literally life-changing. And the information is out here for nothing. It is just up to you guys to execute on what I'm showing you right now. And listen, at the end of this, if any of you guys want help or want like a roadmap or want something, I'm going to open something up for like 5 or 6 people. Because I see Ricky's on here. I'm going to open something up for like 5 or 6 people to get on a call with Ricky, so he can at least give you guys trainings, guides, handouts, and at least like give you something else, like extra freebies to just take if you guys want it. But it's only going to be for like 5 or 6 people at the most. But that's at the very end. Don't message Ricky. Don't say anything. All right. So what next? Now we've done the macro and then we've done the micro, right? We hear these names popping up over and over. Now, don't move on until you have 7 to 10 zip codes in the same city. Well, like, what does that mean? Well, so I've been super fortunate. I've helped a lot of people make a lot of money in real estate over the last few years, a lot. And here's the one thing that they all have in common. They've all followed this system and they've all been hyper-focused. I'll never forget when this hit hard and I realized like this was the missing piece. And I was at a meetup in it was in Cincinnati, but some people from Lexington came up to my Cincinnati meetup, and they came up and they are first-time investors. They had never bought a property. And they're like, Jarius, we can't find any deals like in our area. And I'm like, well, what's your area? These are brand new investors. I go, like, what's your area? And they're like, well, we're looking in Lexington, Louisville, Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Columbus. I'm like, oh, okay. So you guys have no real estate right now. You have no experience. You've just told me you're looking at 6 cities, 6 major big cities to invest and buy real estate in, and you haven't found a deal. Can I kind of tell you why? It's because we're not laser focused. Like we aren't mastering like the right pockets, the right areas. We aren't putting our energy into one thing. It's like, you know, if the sun just focused all its energy on one thing, it would just burn through a planet. But thank goodness it doesn't, and it lights up so many different other things. I want us to think the opposite of the sun. I want us to burn holes through everything with our focus. So do not move forward on any of this until you guys have narrowed down 7 to 10 zip codes in the same city / community to focus on and to be an expert on. Does that make sense, everybody? So number 1 is that's how we're going to find the market. So that's my first promise. That's number 1 is I told you we'd find the market. This is how we're going to find that market. Number 2 is I told you I'm going to tell you how to find motivated sellers and find people that want to sell houses. This is how you're going to do it. Who in here has heard of this thing called the MLS? It's called the Multiple Listing Service. This is a place where people who actually want to sell houses list their houses for sale. Who in here has heard you can only find deals off market? You have to buy deals off market. Who in here has heard that? Like, oh my God, off market. Like, while off market is super cool and sexy to promote on everybody's Facebook ads, like, it's not the only way to buy deals, guys. It's literally not. And there's an entire database of people that want to sell houses. So why don't we kiss the girls leaning towards us and attack that database, right? Wouldn't you rather approach somebody that already in their mind has decided they wanted to sell something versus calling a bunch of people that aren't really expecting your call? Now, that being said, there's a time and a place for both of those. All right. But let's talk about just doing the hot sheets. Now, here's what a hot sheet is. So hot sheet is basically a hot sheet is a search that we're going to set up with MLS data. This is something that we need to get a realtor or a broker to set up for us. Now, this takes a realtor 5 minutes to set up. Once you have your zip codes, you give it to the realtor. Mr. or Mrs. Realtor, here are the zip codes. I need to know whenever the following statuses appear on the MLS. I need to get an email the day this happens, the day that these all change, and then I'd like to get a summary of the activity for the day before. Does that make sense? You give them your 7 to 10 zip codes, and you tell them, I need to receive emails whenever properties in these zip codes changes these into these statuses. And these are the statuses. Number 1 is whenever a property is active. So that means whenever a property was just listed. I need to know whenever a property is listed for sale in any of my zip codes. Number 2 is when a property goes pending. And that means the property goes from active to pending to get sold. Pending just means under contract. It does not mean that the property was sold. It just means that there is an intention to buy. There's a contract. While a house is pending, you're going to do things like home inspection. You're going to get your financing. There's lots of ways for properties to fall in and out of contract on the pending phase. Oh, did that the wrong way? All right. I want to know whenever there's a, oh my goodness, a price reduction. That means that a price was listed on the market and then it was reduced. So that means they had it on the market, they weren't getting action, it slowed down, they dropped the price. I want to know when a property is back on market. That means if the property goes pending and the deal blows up, and for whatever reason it fails the inspections or whatever, the property will go back on the MLS. Boom. So I just want to know when that happens. I want to know when a contract is expired. And that means whenever somebody lists a house for sale, they sign a listing agreement. And then usually that listing agreement is anywhere between 6 to 9 months, 3 to 6 months, whatever that is. So if the home does not sell in that span, the listing will just expire. So when that happens, I want to know when it's expired. That means it's off the MLS, it's off the market. I want to know when the listing is canceled. And that is when a homeowner decides to take it off the market for whatever reason. They might hate their realtor. They might decide not to sell it. They might, whatever, fill in the blank. I don't know, but I want to know. And then the last status I want to know, which is probably the most important out of all of these, is I want to know whenever a property is sold. And the sold status is insanely important. And if I could tell you guys to do one thing with this information. So now listen, we started with macro, we got our city, we went micro, we got our community, and then we got our zip codes, and then we're setting up our hot sheets, right? Now, if you guys could do nothing but take this data that you're going to get and study it for 6 weeks, do nothing but study the sold houses, that will make you a better real estate investor than 90% of the real estate investors out there, even if you've never done a deal. Because that information is going to teach you how much. That's going to teach you what things are selling for. It's going to teach you what your ARVs are, your after repair value. It'll teach you what a brick 3-bed, 2-bath Cape Cod sells for. It will tell you what a 2-bed on a slab sells for. It will tell you what a 3-bed rents for versus a 2-bed. It will give you the end game. And part of the formula is knowing the after repair values. And I'm not going to dive into that on this training because I'm just not going to have time, to be totally honest. But this information is insanely important. Again, this information costs nothing. Any realtor that wants to work with you will set this up. Get them a gift card to Starbucks. This takes 5 to 10 minutes. Do I have any realtors on the call that can vouch for that? I was a realtor for a while. Like, I'm telling you, this takes no time. And if they won't do it for you, they're not the right person for you. And here's what I'll say about that is, number one, is while we're out there looking for deals and studying these sheets, and we are cold calling and we are doing other outreaches that I'm not going to get into in this call, I'm going to come across, you are going to come across deals that will not work for you as a real estate investor because you don't buy bad deals. You guys are not regular real estate investors. And guess what you're going to do with those deals? Hey, realtor that helped me with the hot sheets, I got a lead over here. I can't make it work for me as an investor. Do you want to list this thing? Do you want this free listing? I don't even want anything. Like, you're always on my team. I'm on your team. Here's a listing. Do you think they would appreciate that a little bit? How we all work together, there's that give and take. And if they're not going to do that, then they're not who I want to build a business with, because we're building a business. That's what we're doing. Like, we're doing 3 things in real estate. We're entrepreneurs, we're salespeople, and we're business owners. We're wearing 3 hats. That's what makes this so powerful. That's what makes this whole thing so freaking powerful. Does this make sense on how we're going to find these deals? So we just study these deals, guys. We go after the expired listings. We go after the canceled listings. We go after the active and back on market deals. Guess what we do? We run our numbers and then we make an offer. That's it. We do that over and over and over again, and you will get deals. I started off earlier telling you I've done over 1,000 wholesale deals. I will tell you right now that over 500 of them, at least, I bought off the MLS and wholesaled. And my South Carolina people that are worried about the wholesaling thing, number one is we can do something like an asset purchase. I can buy that house in an LLC and then sell that LLC and its assets to somebody for a fee. That right there will take care of that. I could also double close it. I could also just get my real estate license. Like, to be totally honest, in the beginning, I thought having my real estate license was an amazing asset. Like, because the deals that I couldn't make work as an investor, I would put up for sale, or I would list for sale as a realtor. So I think that there is a huge benefit in also having your license to be able to do stuff like that. The big thing with that, though, is you just gotta disclose. You gotta over disclose. Disclosing is the key when you have your license and you're wholesaling and investing in real estate. But that's where we're gonna find the deals. Now I'm going to tell you about some properties, like the type of property to buy, right? So like my third promise. First promise is I'm going to show you guys where you're going to buy properties. Second promise is I'm going to show you guys how to find these properties. And the third promise is I'm going to help you build out your buy box and tell you what I've seen 6 people do that have helped them be successful. So number 1 is what zip codes am I buying? Well, we already checked that box. We know what zip codes. Number 2 is like, what's the property type? Do I want to buy ranches, like sprawling, brick ranches? Do I want to buy frame 2 stories? Do I want to buy Cape Cods? Like, what's common in my area? Like, what does that look like? Property size. Because I did a lot of big houses, like 3,000 plus square feet, 2, 3, 4 units. I can tell you what, they suck. They're just not fun. I just did a house down the street for me. My cold callers found it. My academy people know which one, Wasco. My cold callers found it, and it was 1,050 square feet. I can tell you right now, doing a small house is probably one of the best things on the planet. Like, but build a buy box. Like, for new people, I recommend anything less than 1,800, 2,000 square feet. Super manageable. That's a good buy box. Condition. Maybe something cosmetic. You don't need to do a full gut. Hey, cosmetics, like update the kitchen, bathrooms, paint, carpet. The not really gutting it to the studs, not really having to worry about foundation things and this and that. So like, what's your condition look like for your buy box? And the people here that have more experience or construction experience or whatever, your buy box can look different than like the person that's working 9 to 5 that wants to get into real estate, but wants something a little more turnkey, but that can add value. And what does that look like? Year built and after repair value. I can tell you now that my biggest tip that I can give you guys, another one, is the areas that I've had the most success in are buying properties with an after repair value in the first time home buyer price point. So like here, like around Cincinnati and a lot of other places, it's anywhere between like $175,000 to like $400,000 after repair value. I like to be in the first time home buyer price point. I feel like that's where I've had the best success, and I've seen a lot of people have the best success in the first time home buyer price point. And if you don't know what a good deal looks like, all right. If you don't know what a good deal looks like, how will you know what a good off-market deal looks like? Which goes back to what I said earlier about studying the sold comps, studying what things are selling for. Everybody is so quick to say off market, because it's the sexiest thing to say on the internet is off market. But your data, your decisions that you guys make, remember, we're logical investors. We're not emotional investors. We're data driven. To get the data, I need to go to the market. I need to go to the MLS. I need to go to where the data is to know what the data says. So then I understand how to buy off market. If I'm only focusing all my efforts on buying off market deals, how will I know what a good deal looks like when I don't have that pillar of the market telling me what it's worth? How many people here have heard somebody say, well, the market will decide what oil is worth. The market will decide what that's worth. The market will decide. Well, this is the real estate market helping us decide and understand and know. So don't be ignorant on the fact that like the MLS and on market stuff is insanely freaking important. This is where most people fail. Let's see where we're at. We have two options here, guys. Basically we have two options right now, guys. I'm gonna open it up in the chat. Let's just do it for the first like 6 people because I know you're busy, Ricky. I want to respect your time. If anybody here wants more guides or any kind of help, comment guide, and I will make sure Ricky sends you a message. I've got hot sheet training. I've got ARV training. I've got all kinds of stuff. If you guys comment guide, I will make sure Ricky can at least get you in the right direction. Ricky, just take the first 6 if you can. After that, man, just do whatever. But we have 2 options with this information. Like we can either like do nothing with it, or we can do more, or we can like take this information and put it to work. Your homework is, I want to see you guys take action. Like I just want to see you guys take these steps, and I want you to message me and be like, Jarius, I took this information and it changed my life. I don't want you to be like Danny, like Danny, who I've helped so much. And Danny we worked for an HVAC company, working full time, worked his guts out, took the stuff that I gave you guys, and Danny implemented it. Danny came in with no money, but what Danny did was found a partner that had more money than time. And Danny had really no time, but definitely no money. But Danny was okay working extra hours. And Danny ended up quitting his job at HVAC and ended up investing in real estate full time with his friend Chad. Now his friend and business partner Chad, because he took what this information was. So I just want you guys to like message me and be like, thank you for the help. That's what I want. So, and Dan was a full-time mortgage broker. I think Dan's first year in the academy, I think he got like 45 deals in 15 months. My academy people know, but and I don't even know what he's at now. If anybody remembers, I don't know. Dan Mahoney's at like 50 doors, I think, maybe. Excuse me. I don't even remember. Dan Mahoney's just at a lot. He's out of control. It's like he's buying something new every time I talk to him. And he started with $500, but he met some dad at a dad's group that was a mid-level executive that wanted to get into real estate. And Dan took all this training, took all this stuff, and was just like, hey, I know how to do all of this because I'm learning it. I really don't have any money, but do you want to partner? And they're like, sure. And then now, like, the rest is history. It's pretty freaking cool. All right. And now I got 6 minutes left for some questions. If you guys want it, I'm here. Who's got some questions? Anybody got anything going on? Questions, comments, concerns? If you guys want some wholesale help, I know I'm not going to do it on this call, but if you guys just send me a private message, I'll get you some stuff for the wholesaling too. But this is what I want to talk about. I really want to talk about buying and holding here because that's like the most important thing. Wholesaling is a means to an end. Essentially, I want everybody to get into wholesaling for 2 things. Number 1 is to get out of wholesaling. And number 2 is to be able to source your own deals because you are successfully investing in real estate. So there is a huge value in being able to source your own deals. But the biggest mistake I made was I wholesaled too long. Like, it's cool to say you've done 1,000 deals, but what's even cooler is to be like, yeah, I've done I did like 200 deals. I cleaned up my credit. I bought my house, and then I started buying real estate immediately. So my biggest mistake was not transitioning sooner. So that's it, guys. I wrote a book. If you guys want to go on Amazon and buy it, it's one of it was awarded top real estate book on Amazon and most helpful. The award was given to me by my mom. She gave me that award. So, it's a good award to get. So I need to put that on my new publications, the new editions. Andrew asked, yeah, Andrew, you're in a good spot, man. I know where you're investing, man. You're in a good spot in Kentucky, man. You guys have got a lot of growth happening down there. Georgetown, Danville. I love Danville. My lake house is in Danville. Close enough. But yeah, definitely good opportunities down there, man. Anybody else got anything? Anybody got any questions or anything? Was this helpful? Did this help anybody? Do you guys feel like you got some actionable steps? I got the book. Got to get the book. It's on you. Yeah, it's on Amazon. Kansas is a state. Yeah, man, there's opportunities everywhere. I can't, I know there's people doing it in Kansas for sure. Does anybody have any guys? I can just end it. We can just be done. I don't care. I'm gonna just. All right. Well, if that's the case, look at Phil, man. Phil's over here looking like Bane, his mask on and everything. What's up, Phil? All right, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful, man. If you guys need anything, you know where to find me. Some more homework if
Okay,
you
I
guys
have
want.
one,
Go
but
on.
it's wholesale related.
What, Simone? What?
I love you too.
What?
So Dominique and I found a house. The lady died 2 years ago. It's nothing on Deal Machine about relatives. We went on cyber background, all that. We cannot find it. Where do we go again to find who owns it?
I would go down to the clerk of courts or the county and see where, like,
Okay.
see who's paying the tax bill or where it's at least where it's getting mailed to. And then I'd also put a note on the door. And then now we're kind of going to be breaking into nicer weather soon. I mean, you guys might have nice weather down there already. But I would also look and see who's mowing the grass and who's mowing the grass and who's paying
Ask the
them
neighbors.
and who's paying them, more importantly, because whoever's
Yeah.
paying them is important. So, do all
Okay.
those things first.
Okay.
You're the best. You sound better. You sound
On
way
to the
better
next
today.
one. Yeah,
Good.
I am better. So on to the
Good.
next. We're gonna have our next one coming soon in Virginia. I'm
I
gonna start
love it.
living in Virginia.
You guys are on fire. Like Simone and Dominica, guys, when Dominica came in the academy, like she was just like super shy. Both of you guys were like super shy. Like, and
Yeah.
both of your guys' first language isn't even English. I mean, they're just
Mhm.
like, and I hear people say something like, oh, I'm afraid to talk. I'm like, man, what's your freaking excuse? Like, I remember made Dominica cold call on one of the coaching calls like 2 years ago. She was
Oh,
like
you did me
terrified.
too.
Yeah, oh,
And
you
I
guys.
was terrified.
And then now Dominica's like the top realtor in her city.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
man, I'm not making this
And
stuff
she's
up. This is
pushing me
all
to get
real.
my real estate license.
Why not? I know. It's
Yeah.
just like I get sick. Guys, I was like going back and forth with like, how many testimonials, how many screenshots, how many things do I put in here? But it's like, at the end of the day, does it even matter? Like, I can't spend Simone's
Action.
money. I can't take Jeff. I can't take Jeff's successes or Andrew's. You guys got to decide, like, you're going to write your story and it starts today. Like,
Yeah. I mean, for 2
either
years,
just, like,
I've been lollygagging around because I was
yeah.
terrified and my fear was holding me back. And I missed out on so many deals. And now I'm laughing at cold calling. And before I had anxiety, I literally had to take some like natural stuff to calm me down because my heart started beating as soon as that phone started ringing. I felt like I can't breathe. And now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just do it, whatever.
She's
And
like, I take
now
some
I
natural
have
stuff
like
like
deals
weed.
slowly coming in.
Just pop a little weed gummy and make some phone calls. Like, man, I
Oh,
think
that,
Simone's
yeah.
falling asleep. No. Man, it's amazing. Like, I mean, I just like it's just so freaking cool. But I don't know.
We
Academy people, we
appreciate
gotta
you.
appreciate you guys for letting me do this. This is pretty fun. I know. I look back and I'm like, man, ever since the academy started, I was like, dang, I've only added like 6 doors to my portfolio since 2020. So I'm like, man, I should go buy something. But I'm like, oh, but then I've also bought a few hotels and we're about to sell some hotels. And I'm like, whatever. I don't know. I've been super
Whatever.
fortunate. So I just pop off a wholesale deal here and there to make some extra money. Like, whatever. So it could be worse. All right, guys.
I have a question for you
You're
real quick.
amazing. Yeah, what's up? Who is that?
Oh, sorry, it's me, Lisa, but my camera don't work.
What's up, Lisa, with the camera that don't work?
Hey, I have a question. So how do you find out if they're landlord friendly or not?
So you, God, it's just gonna sound terrible. Like, basically, if they're a Republican ran state, they're going to be landlord friendly. Is honestly the easiest way to do it without sounding like super political. But that's really the easiest way. Like, what state are you looking at?
Irving, DFW, Texas.
It's probably fine. So what I would do is also I would also talk to maybe like a real estate attorney, or then go down and talk to the sheriff's office, whoever handles the evictions. And I'd say, hey, I'm interested in buying real estate, or I'm a landlord down here and I have a tenant that's not paying their rent. Can you walk me through the eviction process? So call down to the sheriff's office or whichever office in your city handles the evictions, and then find out what their process is. And if it sounds like a pain in the ass, then it's probably a pain in the ass. But I can tell you that they're all evictions are going to take time. But I would do that, and then that's what I would do first, and then ask an attorney too, a real estate attorney there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate that.
Oh,
So I had a
can
question.
Google that. Yeah, what's up? Who's that?
So this is Anita. So my question is, you said to look in your back, where you live, and I live in Portland, which is, not a landlord-friendly state. So if that's the case, then how would you identify the next city or state to
The next
invest in?
thing I would do is ask Ricky for my out-of-state investor guide that I don't have time to go over, but I don't know if you've messed it, Ricky, I don't know if you're maxed out or not. But there's like a whole another training I have about selecting areas like out of state, out of area. But basically, like, it boils down to basically the same system that you saw right now. But I would look for places like maybe like you like to visit places that are easy direct flights from where you live, that are like landlord friendly, that do check those boxes, that the cost of living is still fair, like that are landlord friendly, cost of living is still fair. The average first time home buyer house is around 300,000 ish. Maybe you have family there, maybe you have relatives there, maybe you grew up there, maybe you just like to visit there. But I would look in areas like that and start the whole process, but do the macro part in those big cities with direct flights from where you live.
Okay, thank you so much.
But
Thank you.
but the most important part though is going to be building out your team out of state. So if you
Yeah.
have roots or friends or somebody you trust in one of those states that's checked those boxes, start there.
Okay.
Does that make
Thank you.
sense?
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Where can I DM you? Guys, just yeah, you can send to Ricky. You guys can just search my name and on Facebook too if you need to send it to me. We can get you that. Thank you for taking the time. 70s and Sunnies. Man, I wish it was 70 and Sunny here. What is the Academy? The Academy is the BIA, the Bird Invest Academy. It's a mentorship that Nate and I have that we help people with. Some people are on here. Like I said, this whole thing was going to be about that. If you guys want info on that, just comment info for the Academy. You can get all that information or whatever. Somebody will get that to you. But it's like pretty awesome and life-changing for a lot of people. So you guys don't have to do this alone, especially if you're going to go out of state and you're looking for support and help. It's the Academy. So it's pretty amazing. So what's up? Oh, Daryl, what's up, man? Cool. All right, everybody. Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of the day and all that good stuff. I will see some of you guys in 56 minutes. Some of you I'll see tomorrow for our CRM tech call. But all of you guys, I wish nothing but the best. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys soon.